Wynncraft, the Minecraft MMORPG. You've probably heard of it, maybe even played it. It's a game where you run around killing enemies, completing quests, and taking on bosses. But what if you did all that, but without the ability to move? This is Walkless Wynncraft. First of all, I want to beat Wynncraft. But Wynncraft is constantly being developed, and as an MMO, it doesn't really have a completion state. So how do I qualify beating Wynncraft? 1. Completing the final quest, A Hunter's Calling, requiring your max level to complete. 2. Completing all raids and dungeons. Additionally, for the dungeons, I have to clear them for the first time at the recommended level of each dungeon. This is different for each one, but the point is to prevent overleveling. 3. Some storyline specific quests. I haven't decided on all of them yet, but I will say that the Realm of Light quests and the Dwarves and Dogons quests will be required for completion. 4. Other things I plan to do include Cure a Hive, Tower of Ascension, and Legendary Island. I currently have no idea how I want to handle Annihilation on this account. I don't know if a solo is even possible with my restrictions, so we'll see with time. Now, onto the rules. The obvious one is up, down, strafe left, and strafe right will all be completely unbound at any point I play this character. It is in the title of the video. I cannot skip levels through obscene grinding, specifically double XP bombs, mob totems, and grind spots. I want to do as much questing and dungeon content as I can for the majority of my levels. My character will be an Iron Man, meaning I cannot trade with others. Every single item I get will be from myself. Additionally, I will refrain from others carrying me in content. I feel that this goes against the challenge and will try my hardest to avoid it. With all the rules aside, we move on to class choice. Wynncraft has 5 classes: Archer, Warrior, Mage, Assassin, and Shaman. Each one has their own skills, spells, and specialties. Which one is the right pick for this challenge? To decide, we must look at their movement capabilities. Archer. Archer has some bad movement abilities. Their main spell is Escape, a spell which flings you backwards. It's difficult to use in a lot of places and isn't very precise. There is the ability Grappling Hook, which does allow for some better movement, but it's still very limited, albeit in different ways. Warrior. Warrior has one of the most versatile ability sets for movement. Charge, along with the ability Aerodynamics, allows for long-distance, precise movement at high speeds. Plus, Uppercut with Whirlwind Strike allows us to climb up structures. Mage. Mage has possibly the best movement spell in the game, Teleport. It's a teleport, not really much to say about this one. However, Mage doesn't have any other abilities that benefit its movement, ignoring time dilation. Assassin. Assassin has an entire archetype dedicated to movement. The Acrobat is designed for movement with its abilities specifically. Pretty much the entire Acrobat tree has useful abilities for precision and distance movement. Shaman. The last and probably least is Shaman. Shaman's spells mostly all revolve around the totem that the Shaman can create. This means that for movement, Shaman needs to cast 2 spells for the price of 1. It's also quite inconvenient to use considering that your damage source is also from your totem. Now that we've gone over every class, which one fits the best for our challenge? I decided to pick Warrior. I feel that Warrior allows for the most reasonable movement for both combat, distance, and tight spaces. And I feel that Warrior is the best class for surviving while you can't move. So let's start our adventure into Wynncraft, but without moving. And we encountered an issue already. We can't move. We can't get off this stupid carriage. Luckily, Wynncraft added just the thing for lazy people who make like 3 characters a week, the /skip tutorial command. This allows us to skip straight through the tutorial, putting us perfectly stuck in the back of Ragni. So yeah, you remember all that debating on which class to pick? Well, none of it mattered. No class can start with their movement ability. Every single one of them needs to be at level 6 to unlock this spell. So are we Of course not. We abandon that warrior and replace it with a superior class, Archer. Archer is the one and only option for this challenge. To my knowledge, Archer is the only class that can move by itself at level 1. With the use of Arrow Bomb, we can use the blast to hit ourselves, launching the user a very negligible distance, for the low cost of almost half of my mana. To level up, we need mob spawns. Our first mob spawns are at the end of Ragni. This is gonna take a bit, isn't it? With our first accessible mobs comes our first level ups. As mentioned previously, at level 6 we get access to Escape, a real movement spell. So with a quick few level ups, we can have some reasonable movement. I want to complete Decrepit Sewers, which is a recommended level of 9, meaning I'll have to reach level 9 first. Additionally, I want to complete the quest that this dungeon used to be locked behind, the Sewers of Ragni. Unlocked at level 5, this quest has a few scary bits in it, but we'll handle that when we get there. The Sewers of Ragni is a simple quest about clearing a blocked sewer. The quest features some simple parkour and easily felled enemies. Escape makes quick work of the parkour sections, and the mob sections aren't a problem. So this whole quest shouldn't pose any issue. And this was the moment when I realized that this challenge was actually going to be a challenge. I have to outrun this, while only using Escape. My mana regen isn't enough to get through, and even if it was, I'd have to squeeze through multiple 2 to 3 block gaps with Escape. So what do? We could try getting a lucky string of escapes, and I did try this for a bit. But then this happened. Turns out there's a safe spot for the water. I I ended up resetting, but I made note of this weird interaction. And then a couple of attempts later, I tried it again. Why'd the water just disappear? Well, it turns out, once the water makes it to the end of the section, it just expires. The quest assumes that two things can happen during the sequence. Either you die by the water, or you make it through the parkour, which instantly puts you into the cutscene, giving us easy access to the end of the tunnel, resulting in a quest completed. This was the first true stumbling point in this adventure, and it makes me both excited and nervous for the future. Speaking of the future, Decrepit Sewers! I need to hit level 9 to fulfill the recommended level requirement. The Sewers of Ragni put me at level 7, so I ended up completing Poisoning the Pest and the Far From the Root secret discovery. With a tiny bit of mob killing, I reached level 9, ready to take on my first dungeon. The first room is a simple kill X number of mobs room. For this one, I stood back and just attacked every enemy from afar. But I need to be close to the door when I hit the count, otherwise it closes on its own. After that, we have this tunnel section, which I slowly escaped through and... The fuck? Wait, what? Does anyone know about this? Just a giant... Okay. Turns out this is actually just a respawn point for the parkour. After the tunnel is the dreaded parkour section. It features 10 jumps which I need to precisely navigate with escape. Next up is another kill mob section. The early dungeons feature a bunch of these parts, so be prepared for them. We keep the same strategy as the first section, using our range to our advantage. And another mob section. I told you these dungeons love them. This one's a bit unique, however. They spawn waves of enemies you have to kill. I fell them easily and move on to the final section, the Witherhead. The Witherhead features 3 main attacks. A close-range combo attack, which hits twice as long as the first one hits. A long-range leap attack to catch people abusing its low speed. And an attack where he summons Witherhead spawn minions, and these pools of poisonous liquid, damaging anyone inside of them. My strategy is very simple. Abuse my range and dodge his attacks. My main target is actually the Witherhead spawn, because it's really bad if I get swarmed by enemies with no mana left. So now that we know what we're up against, let's begin. That wasn't difficult at all. I also leveled up to 10, unlocking Arrow Shield. It's a useful tool for its defensive capabilities, and will tremendously help for the future. So that's all for this episode. In the next one, we'll take on the Infested Pit and the Underworld Crypt. Oh, and one more thing. Thanks for watching. This is my first attempt at a real video, and would love some feedback in the comments. Also, I don't think it would be possible to reach level 6 on any other class with my restrictions, but I would love to see some of you try if you think I'm wrong. So that's my challenge to you, viewers. Message me on Discord if you find anything. And I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye!